In this section, we'll talk about copyright. Virtually everything is copyrighted, including this presentation. So British copyright law is what we'll mainly be focusing on, and falls under the Copyright Designs and Patent Act 1988, in which it's quoted as original literary, drama, music or artistic works are protected. But mostly that's kind of all text, photos, recordings, anything that someone creates is copyrighted. The person who creates it also owns the copyright, unless they created it for a company and the copyright's been assigned to the company, or there are patents involved, or particularly in the case of wedding photographers, they may have moral rights. So moral rights apply if a professional photographer takes the photo, and obviously even though the professional photographer may own the copyright, obviously the people who commission them have the moral rights. So the example given in McNay's is a woman is seriously injured in a train crash, and a news department want to use the image from the professional photographer from their wedding. The professional photographer says yes, but the husband says, actually no, I assert my moral copyright right, and I don't want her image to be used. So even though they might not own the copyright, if they have a moral right to it, they can also object. Copywriting myths. So these are a few myths that people often get confused. It's free to use if it's less than 30 seconds. Whilst true, if you use less than 30 seconds, you're very unlikely to get into trouble. Isn't actually a proper legal defence, although we'll come on to fair dealing, which sort of is in a moment. News stories or ideas. So although a crime may have occurred, it's not one person can copyright that crime or coverage of that crime per se. Obviously the articles and photographs may be copyrighted, but the actual idea, the fact that the crime happened, or generally the ideas or substance cannot be copyrighted, and gives rise to lifting stories. So particularly for inexperienced student journalists, it may be safer to simply lift or rewrite stories of local regional publications, so that you can kind of keep within either the law if it's very with court reporting, or to be able to just kind of learn how journalists write, particularly in your area. The quote I'm going to use, used in the office every now and again, is, "Oh, if it's public," as in if it's on public or Twitter, if it's on Facebook or Twitter, then it's fair game. Absolutely incorrect. If it's on Facebook or Twitter, it's copyrighted to the person who uploaded it, and sometimes copyrighted of the service that they use. So particularly a Facebook photo, profile photo, whilst set as public, isn't free license to copy and distribute. It's just public so that you can see it. It's not public in the sense that you can use it. So always be careful with copywriting. If it's public, you have to make sure, well, actually, can I use it even though I can see it? If it's emergency or breaking news, it's free. Although fair dealing comes into this somewhat. No, that's generally the case is no. Even though it might be emergency or breaking news, you can't just lift photos out of, you can't just steal someone else's photo, otherwise photojournalists would be out of a job. So fair dealing, this is where you can almost use copyrighted work for current events. So for news, maybe even emergency breaking news, you are allowed to use some copyrighted works, so long as you give sufficient acknowledgement. So that would be citing the title or description or the source, and the name of the person who created it, because there's as much information as you can reasonably fit in. It notably excludes still photographs. Obviously, as previously said, otherwise news photojournalists would be out of a job. It does, however, include copied film footage, sound recordings, or if the images are used for criticism or review, and only if they've been made public. So for instance, if a CD has come out and you want to use the CD cover, obviously if that image has been uploaded to the internet for the purposes of criticism or review, you can use it because it's been made public and it is specifically for that purpose. But do always check, just if you're unsure, email them and just ask them, can we use your photo, can we use your video? Always, if you ask, most of the time people will say yes anyway. So if you're not sure,